Have you ever been trapped in a conversation with someone who just continues to talk about themselves? Their job, their weekend, their opinions, their problems. 20 minutes later, you realize you know absolutely everything about them, and they know absolutely nothing about you. Here's the wild part. That person almost always walks away from conversations thinking,
Man, I am a great conversationalist.
and then you and your friends in a group chat basically are saying,
Oh man, he's doing it again, guys.
yeah, it happened. And there's a reason for that. And it literally goes deeper than just bad manners. Psychologists discovered that your brain is literally wired to pay attention more and to remember longer information that connects to you personally, which means that the fastest shortcut to someone's genuine attention has nothing to do with actually how interesting you are, which for me, oh man, that's a big one. Hey, I'm Mike Collins, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about personal finance and personal development. This is day 8 of my 30-day challenge of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, where I actually test these principles of each chapter in real life and actually try to look up the science behind why it actually works. As a recap, day 6 was about remembering names, and day 7 was about listening more than you talk. Today picks up right where we left off from day 7. Because once you've created the space in a conversation by listening, the next question is actually kind of obvious. What do you do with it? And Carnegie actually has a pretty specific answer. Carnegie writes, talk in terms of the other person's interest. 6 words, and it sounds completely obvious, just like every other chapter we've done so far. But here's the honest question. In the last 5 conversations that you have had, how much of the time did you spend talking about what the other person was genuinely interested in versus what you actually wanted to share? Most conversations drift naturally toward what excites us, what has happened to us, what we think, what we want, which makes sense because we're living our own lives. The problem is, so is everyone else, which is genuinely hard to remember sometimes. I'll be in mid-conversation, fully convinced that my opinion on something is actually fascinating, and then I catch myself and think, wait, this person has their entire life that is happening right now as I consume their time. They did not wake up today hoping that I would explain to them the value and economics of my Beanie Baby collection and how I am holding out strong for one day. Fingers crossed. And Carnegie's argument is really quite simple. Stop trying to fight the reality of this and actually use it. So here's the science, and it actually is kind of genuinely interesting of how this works. Psychologists call this the self-reference effect. It's this phenomenon where basically someone's memory retention is connected more to the things that fascinate us and we're connected to and relates to us personally. This research goes all the way back to a gentleman by the name of Timothy Rogers and his colleagues back in 1977. In their experiments, participants rated words on 4 different tasks. The words rated under the self-reference task connected to their own identity, and they were recalled the best. The researchers basically concluded that the self-reference is a powerful memory connection. Plain English, when someone talks about something that's connected to your life, your brain doesn't just hear it. It processes it more deeply. It stores it longer. It actually engages more fully. Let's take the FIFA World Cup right now. A football fan understands football terms better than someone who's not interested in football. Not because they're smarter, but because the information connects to something that they genuinely care about. So when you talk about subject matters that matter to the person in front of you, that's not just being polite. You're working with the way their brain is actually built. You become more engaging almost instantly. And it's not because you actually got more interesting. Let me clarify that. But because the topic became more relevant. I try really hard not to pull direct examples from the book itself, but I think this one deserves its own spot in this conversation. Carnegie provides this example of this businessman trying to get in touch with this hard-to-reach executive. Everyone's trying to give their pitches, and everyone else follows the cookie-cutter style process. They pitch their products, their ideas, their agendas. Everyone's literally just competing for this executive's attention. But then this other businessman that Carnegie talks about takes a different approach. This businessman spent time figuring out what this executive actually had interest in outside of the business mode that he had. So when he got his chance to talk to the executive, those are the things that he talked about. The meeting went exceptionally well. And here's Carnegie's point in all of that. The guy wasn't competing for attention like the rest of them. He was aligning himself with the attention that already existed. And that is a completely different game to play. And it literally works everywhere. Job interviews, first dates, networking events, conversations with people that you've known for years. So here's the real world test that I've been working on all this week with this principle. And honestly, it starts to feel a little unfair when you start doing it on purpose with people, because you know what you're doing, but they don't know what you're doing. When someone mentions something that they're genuinely excited in, like a trip, a project, or something going on with their kid, and you actually go to follow up on that specific thing, their energy shifts, their body posture changes, they lean in more, and they genuinely care more about their conversation with you. It's almost a little unsettling at how well this actually works, kind of like a cheat code for human interaction. It's a little absurd. And all we're doing is actually caring about what people have to say. The conversation suddenly feels actually effortless. Not because you're carrying it, but because they're talking about something that actually matters to them. Most people think that connection happens because you're trying to impress someone. And Carnegie says it's literally the opposite. Connection actually happens when people feel understood. And those are not the same thing. You can impress someone and still feel like you're leaving them as a stranger. But when someone feels understood, they remember you. So here's where this connects back to day 7. Listening creates the space, but space by itself doesn't do anything. It's just quiet. And what Carnegie is actually describing and trying to make sure we understand is what we are supposed to do with that space. And the natural instinct, even for good listeners, is to follow up with things that we know and understand. A topic that you can jump in on, literally looking for common ground. And Carnegie's principle asks you to do something slightly different. Actively go towards what lights that person up, even if you don't understand anything about it. And that's a small shift, but it's a big shift for most of us. And the fact is, it changes the conversation on the other end. So here's the challenge for something for you to try on your next conversation. At some point in the conversation that you're having next, someone is going to mention something briefly and then move on from it. A project, a trip, something that they're dealing with. And most of the time we let those moments pass by. Don't let it pass, go back to it.
Wait, you mentioned something that you were working on. What was that about?
That one sentence does a lot in that moment. It tells the person that you weren't just waiting your turn to talk with them. You were actually tracking what they were trying to say, even though they know you know nothing about it too. Almost nobody does this anymore. And the people that do this are actually considered the most interesting conversationalists. The fact is, if you want people to genuinely enjoy talking to you, stop trying to be the most interesting person in the room and start being the most interested. That is day 8. One principle, one challenge. And the cool thing is, this is something so simple that you can try to do today at some point in a conversation that you have, is slow it down and start actually thinking about what they're saying. If you like this video, please click the like button and hit subscribe for future content if you want to follow along. Drop a comment below. What is one topic that you could talk about for hours? I would genuinely love to know. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you on day 9. Stay consistent out there, guys.